All right. It's a Sunday again. We're playing Vampire the Masquerade, Swansong. Insert another noun here. And I am the person in your computer or cell phone talking to you about nonsensical stuff. And, yeah. I hope that's what you expected to get here, and you weren't here for the good clips and are now going, damn it, it's the bad streams in between the clips again. Alright, Vampire the Masquerade Swansong. I hope you had a good week so far, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a little bit warm here, but actually not too warm this week, so I managed to survive. Next week we have I think it's Thursday, where we've got promised 37 degrees centigrade, which, I'm more a 10 degrees is comfortable person, so yeah, this will be fun. I'm actually thinking about going to the office just because we have AC. Well, actually, it was more like a colleague mentioned, "Hey, I went to," or my boss actually mentioned, "Yeah, I'm at the office and enjoying the AC," and I was kind of going like, "Yeah, it might be another thing to help me to finally get back there." Because luckily we're allowed to work from home, and I've kind of trying to work up my my bodily fitness again, because with all the lockdown and working from home, I didn't quite get enough movement in. And so biking to work has always been like, it's what is it, 12 kilometers or something? And that's like, I used to walk 6 kilometers to work, like one way. That kind of worked, but I can't walk 12 kilometers, and biking 12 kilometers is still quite a good bit of exercise, especially if you're really, really out of shape like I am at the moment. Although, people tell me round is a shape too, so I guess make of that what you wish. There are people talking in my computer. Yes! People in your computer talking. They're, the engineer sitting inside your computer shoveling the bits. I plan to make use of the office AC a few days next week as well. Yeah. Yeah. So, we've actually had a pretty good game last week. We got to play as MM, and, got to play MM in what, I sort of called Zerg mode, which means you played at MM, but you also had our little phone book. Well, not the phone book, just the dialogue with like 3 people to choose from. But still, and we're able to call people and get them to help you. And that's actually, I loved that detail, that, you kind of take, okay, what kind of a personality is this character, and now how can we turn that into a game mechanic. And that's the kind of, there's some game mechanics that I just don't find fun, but if you pick from all the game mechanics where I go like, yeah, I can do them for a while, and I'm just competent enough at them that it doesn't become frustrating failing at them over and over, then I love if you take the game's story and the game's characters and choose mechanics based on that. And I mean, every time you create a new game franchise, as a game developer, that's kind of what I expect you think of, if you hear about like how games were developed, that's often what you hear. Like, you hear they toyed around with some game mechanics, found out what they could do, and had like a general idea for a story, and then the good games end up being a combination of these two elements. So you go, we have this amazing new mechanic, or this mechanic that's at least new to us, or we have a slightly new spin on it, and then the mechanic influences the spin, and the uh, uh, spin. I don't know where that word came from. um, your because I said your own spin, right? Okay, my brain was just like dipping into the wrong neuron there. Um, so you have this game mechanic, and that influences the plot. Um, because like you go, how can I get the player into a situation where that new game mechanic is helpful or necessary. And that's kind of what you do in games like that. You have a bunch of game mechanics, and sometimes you go, okay, we have to do this in the story for it to make sense, but for that we need this new mechanic. But in other cases, it's, we have this cool mechanic, now how can we build a story around this? And that's why it's so much easier to do the first game in a franchise, because there everything is open. You don't have preconceived expectations. But in the second part of the game, you are limited to the mechanics from the previous game and the story elements from the previous game that you've introduced. And so you're not as free anymore. You can't just add random stuff and see what fits, because some of it will inevitably contradict what you did before. Um, and so here, I loved that we got to play as this, as it was just a hint, sadly, but still, it's good, and I kind of hope that they build on that it was just it happens the first time, so we keep it small, and then it will slowly expand. Although I don't know how much game we have left. So who knows if we'll even. This might be the last mission. Um, is it like in Ark where you tame dinosaurs and one is your shovel and one is your pickaxe and one is your bow and one is your sword? Okay. I never got that far in Ark. Like, I played it during some beta weekend, and it seemed kind of nice, and recently they gave it away for free, and I tried it again. And for me, this game hasn't aged well. Like, in the meantime, I've played, Conan Exiles, I've played. What else did I play? I don't know. I mean, Conan Exiles is enough. Um, and Ark just feels like a generation older, and and the UI is so much more confusing. Um, so yeah, that kind of kept me from actually getting anywhere the second time. After the first time, it was more well, the free weekend ends in an hour. That's all I can play. The dinos have skills like chopping trees and crushing rock. Oh, okay. You did not enjoy Ark either. Okay. I've seen some streams, and it sounded like you could do fun stuff in this game, but I did not remember the UI being this horrific. Like, it was a lot of stuff like multi-page menu screens, like with different tabs, and it wasn't obvious to me that those were tab controls where I could see more stuff. So I scanned around and kind of went like, okay, this is all the options. How do I craft something? I remember crafting something the first time round. And this time, no idea, it didn't give me anything. And then at some point I realized, these could be tabs, and clicked at one. And then, oh yeah, here's the crafting screen, and things like that. I don't know. I found it confusing, and to think I'd played it before, so you would have expected I would have remembered something. So I don't know if they changed the UI for the worse. Maybe something was like a single screen at the start, and then they added more stuff, and so they needed to split it up on two screens because there wasn't enough space, or what it was, or if it was because I was playing on a bigger screen now. I don't know. But I mean, I like the premise of Ark, and the art design is mostly good. Um, I'm not quite sure I like that the player character looks like a Neanderthal, no matter what you do. Um, but maybe that's part of the plot. Maybe you're supposed to find out that, oh, I'm a Neanderthal on Earth, um, and alien technology is doing something with me. Who knows? I watched people using whistle commands to control dinosaurs, and always the wrong ones reacted. Yeah. Okay, I mean, there's targeting is always difficult in games. The story is even worse than that. Oh, okay. Um, but I mean, it's if it's a standard science fiction trope, as long as the rest of the game is okay, I probably won't have a problem with it. I guess while I'm just yapping away instead of playing the game, um, I've actually been playing a few games that I haven't played in a while. Um, so I actually ages ago bought No Man's Sky, and I've started playing that again, and I'm actually enjoying that quite a lot. Like the survival aspect of it, which you would think, oh, someone who plays Conan Exiles occasionally and tried to play Ark and things like that, that must be down my alley. And I mean, even Satisfactory, that you've seen me play here on stream, has a bit of a survival element. But it's really, with Satisfactory, you kind of see where my loyalties actually lie, which is, games where you can build. And so the survival element, that you have lots of planets where you have to collect resources so you don't starve and things like that. I was very happy that never made its way into Satisfactory, because like everything else from the setup from Satisfactory, um, kind of a survival mechanic would fit fine in there. Um, but I'm glad they just went, no, screw it, I'm not focusing on that, and instead it's more about you build complex machines that interact with each other. You plan out how to get enough resources together to, in the end, produce what you want to produce. Um, so, but yeah, so No Man's Sky has that survival element. Like, many planets are really cold or really hot. Um, Luckily, you can build yourself a house and go in there, and you'll recover. So, that's kind of good for, like, you could just run back and think and rummage through your inventory and do other stuff without having to pay attention to that. So yeah, that was fun. What else did I play? I played like the first mission in um, Terminator Resistance, which is an interesting game. It's if you've seen the movie Terminator Salvation, it's basically it's that as a game, sort of. So it's set in the future with you part of the resistance fighting Skynet and hunter killers and stuff like that. And it's done pretty well. It's not a triple A game, but it uses the license well. It respects the license. On the other hand, in my opinion, that era is the most boring part of the Terminator universe. So, yeah, so it's an interesting game. It's something where I will probably try to play mission after mission on the side if I want something to play. Um, on the other hand, it's not the game where I would be sad if I don't finish it or something. So I'm not sure if I would ever play it on stream because I kind of want to finish games that I play on stream if I can. Um, what else did I play? I think I played one or two more. Well, but anyway, that's it about playing. I also tinkered around a bit with programming, got back, like I had taken a bit of a break working on my programming language, partially because I was just too tired to do much more in the evenings than play some random game that doesn't tax me much. Um, so I actually set up continuous build on my on GitHub for my programming language, so that every time I send a change up to the server, it will actually run it and run all the test code that I've written and tell me if anything is wrong. Um, because the important part about this is I can run the tests on my own computer as I write my code, of course. But there can always be things where you have a file left over on your computer that you forgot to send to the server, and so it's actually your program is actually incomplete. It's only complete on your computer, and you will find out things like that by having the build test running. So yeah, I've set that up only for Mac right now, but I'm also planning to hook it up later so that it will work for Windows. But since I've did some significant changes to the user interface code on the Mac, I actually still need to update the Windows code to do that. And so I went, okay, this way I know it works now. There is one bug that I want to fix. And after that, I look at the Windows code, get that working again, and then I'll set up Windows on the build tester. And from then on, whenever I do a change, I will have to make it on both platforms. Um, but yeah, so that's me having fun in my weird way. Um, so yeah, in No Man's Sky, you can build small farms and factories, but not as complex as in Satisfactory. Yeah, yeah. But it's like Satisfactory just has this building. You build a base, you set up a few items on there that help you, so that's nice. So for those of you who know the game, I don't want to like spoil too much because it seems like that's kind of the first big element of the story, but I've made it to the anomaly, so that's nice. That's cool. Um, yeah, and now I'll be continuing the main quest and things like that. So that will be fun. Um, but that's something I do on the side because as much as I love streaming, it's different to play a game just for yourself and on stream. And so certain kind of games um, I wanted to play that game. I never had the pressure to actually finish that game or something like that. Um, and so playing that on stream for a little while, um, can be enjoyable and gives me that extra element of you need to finish this. Um, whereas other stuff I just play, in the evening when I want to relax a little bit, and there, I don't want to have the pressure of having to finish it or having to say something while I play it and things like that. All right. So we were here. Oh, right, and we have blood. We have thirst. But we went up here. That's a bit annoying. Whoops. I always want to crouch in games to be kind of... Which game did I play where crouching actually made sense? Oh, right. I played a little bit... yesterday evening I actually played a little bit of Star Wars Jedi Knight, which is kind of the unofficial sequel to Dark Forces. So if you don't know, Dark Forces was basically a game like the original Doom, but in the Star Wars universe. And there was this guy that you played as, Kyle Katarn, and that was the player character, and he was just a I think he was basically a soldier for hire, not a bounty hunter, not with like a helmet or something. More like a smuggler, I guess, but he didn't smuggle stuff. But like, you know, appearance, stylistically, he was more a normal person. And so at some point, they made Dark Forces, they made Dark Forces 2, and at some point they actually added the twist where Kyle Katarn actually had force powers. And so it turned into a Jedi game. And from then on, the series, I think it might have been Dark Forces 2, I don't remember. It was, you know, it got the subtitle, something like Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight or something like that. And then they dropped the Dark Forces part and did Jedi Knight blah, Jedi Knight blah. And so in that game, it's a little bit clunky because it's an older game, but it actually plays reasonably well. And in Jedi Knight 1, you basically start out as a Padawan who made their own lightsaber. Which, you know, special. You didn't have any training and you managed to build your own lightsaber. And so, plane crash, and then you kind of have to find your way through, basically, and you go through training with someone. Stuff like that. And so I played that yesterday. And of course, crouch was on the C key, and if I press the C key, because I think I want to go here somewhere, then, do I have anything with which I can... Sorry, I'm all over the place today. Anyway, so I thought I'd go out there, maybe crouch so I'm not seen. But this game doesn't have that. So that gives me will. That eliminates hunger. Oh, that works until the end of the night. That's interesting. Magnetic key. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Can I turn this down a little? Okay, I think that's slightly better with all the noise here. Anyway, I would kind of like to see if there's anyone. So, what we're doing here is we actually snuck in here. And we're trying to find the administrative area, which is where we can get a computer that's hooked up to their network. Okay, so this is a closed door. Go down, no return. Oh. That's interesting. That's almost... On one hand, you know, I like that they do that. You know, I don't... But it's also... It feels like a bit of a spoiler. That, you know, something might happen down there. You know what? Screw the suspicion. Okay, so at least we have a little bit. So now the question is this where we came from, or is this new? This is new. Okay, that costs us 2. Let's go back here and just see if there's anything interesting down here. Yourself. Okay, so that's why this thing is open. Okay. That wasn't super useful then. Alright, let's see. Here was the way up. Chop, chop, chop. No, you don't get chopped here. Okay, I guess let's go up here. Fleetness is available when a celerity state and near a situation that can be slowed down. Press the button to activate fleetness. Slowing down a situation does not generate any hunger. The situation resumes normal speed when you move away from it or deactivate celerity.
Propeller's broken, but the engine is still running.
Okay, so we can slow it.
I don't know what to do with that.
Okay, so we can probably... Oh, and what is this? Pick lock.
The system to stop the fan blades must be in there, but it's locked.
Okay, so if we have enough fleetness, then I guess we can slow this thing down. And go through. Hello? Oh, that would be control. Okay, that is the button.
This is a waste of my time.
Okay, we can't get through here. Oh, so we can celery through here. But we would need to clear. Okay. So it's a combination, and that's why it's free. Okay, I guess we'll use this because we don't have anything else to feed from, and we just wasted 2 points on the backstory of why the ceiling thing is open, which, you know, if you see the toolbox, you can kind of guess. 4 points. All right. Oh.
Their informant has a code name. That's a start.
Progress report 08, Operation Swansong, to Mr. Joe Loveless. Operation Barrow. The unit led by Captain Troy Collins was successful in neutralizing a new specimen. Subject C-23. See Response Unit Report 23 for more details. Intruder capture. Intrusion and capture of a blank body on the Long Island base. The specimen was subdued and interrogated by Mr. Walter Stanford of the Society of St. Leopold. We are awaiting the results of this interrogation. The security level has been increased. Okay, that's Galeb, I guess. Informant interrogation. As stipulated in the last report, our teams interrogated several of the specimens captured during Operation Nest. One of them claims to be our informant and has identified themselves by a code name. The specimen is under the supervision and responsibility of Mr. Walter Stanford. We are awaiting the results of these interrogations. Okay. Come on. Oh, I need 2 auspecs to read that? Oh, this is no blood. Okay, so that's because
their informant has a code name.
We're high enough.
That's a start.
Okay. And we don't have enough blood again. I don't know if reading that is really that useful. Let's see, is there anything else? No. But I mean, it might include who it is. This is not going well because now we don't have anything else. Attention Ms. Yama Walker. Dear Madam, attached is a detailed report on the most recent progress of Operation Swansong. Although Operation Nest was extremely effective in eliminating the terrorists, there were more civilian losses than anticipated. As per procedure, our team brought the victims to our base and are now identifying the bodies. It goes without saying that the collateral damage, if not properly dealt with, could jeopardize the visibility of future operations. We therefore hope to be able to count on the full cooperation of your team in dealing with the public and the media coverage of this case. Our external relations department is available to you at any time. Joe Lovelace. Okay. Okay. That didn't really do much. I really hope there is a place where we can find... Okay, that's where we came from? Yeah. So I guess the only thing we can do is go down there and probably get caught.
I'm here.
Need help up here! Too many of them! Where the hell is Iverson? We need backup! We gotta get up here! We get... Shit!
Saul!
Fall back! Run! Behind you! Bitch!
Saul! Saul, you there? Saul!
Been neutralized.
No, 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 no.
Oh, and that was the ending already. Whoops. You learned that the traitor had an accomplice. You could have learned more about the traitor. You could have spared the sad agent's life, yeah. You could have found the code to the electronic padlock, yeah. Instead of asking Rafa. No more Saul, yeah. I liked Saul. She was a cool character. It's a really, really bad thing. I think I don't know. Like it always feels like, oh yeah, I want to replay this game and try everything different, but it involves replaying a lot of stuff in the game, re-rolling a lot of the random things. So, I'll see. Like if they give you the opportunity to just go back and say, hey, I'll replay this chapter, um, and leave everything before that the way it is, um, then I would very much try to replay it. I don't know if I will try to replay it anytime soon if I have to play the game from the beginning again. You learned that the traitor had been interrogated. So we know Galeb has been interrogated, so whoever else we can find out has been interrogated is someone we can find out. You could have learned more about the traitor. I'm really curious what that would have been. Like, did I forget about something I found last time? Or would that have been sparing the SAD agent's life? And the padlock code, yeah, I know it was that number up in the fan, probably. I could have probably just used that instead of hacking the lock. Alright, and now we're back to Galeb. Okay, yeah, I guess because we did Leisha again. This will be interesting. Can we save Galeb? Let's see, we have 135 points available. Disciplines. Dominate generates one less dialogue power. Iron Fist. The thing I don't know about this is it says the next skill will automatically succeed without using willpower. Generates 4 hunger. So far we've always been limited by hunger. So being able to trade hunger or to trade willpower for hunger, I'm not sure that's going to help us much. So generate less hunger might be more useful. But also, this basically means, you have to trigger it and then do a skill check. Which I probably might not think about. Walls of Mind. What is Walls of the Mind? Defends against the opponent's skills, increases the chance of winning by 50% in case of a tie. Generates 2. Walls of the Mind can now also protect against opponent's disciplines. Velvet Glove. Presence. So I think we can 45 and 90 is 135. So we could unlock these two for all the points we have. I mean, it ups our presence by 2 as well. even if we don't do anything with these abilities. So that might be worth it. And here, is there anything that's free for us? I don't think so. Oh, these are free. So, well, I guess if they're free, I don't care, really. Okay, so this one and this one. Doesn't cost us anything. Okay. And now we still have 130 free blah blah blah. 135, so let's do these two. And I guess that's it. I don't know what these points are all good for. I don't care. I want to have a good story. I kind of hope that they've only captured the Anarchs, but who knows? This will be interesting. Just don't make it as gory as last time. That's clever. Use him as a shield, as food, and as a weapon. And use his weapon. Did he just shoot him in both eyes? Looked like there were holes in the mask. Calmed Beast, -5. How do they have bulletproof vests that are not vampire-proof? Well, it's the eye. He shot him through the eyes, so the vests didn't help.
They put that through my heart. This nail shouldn't have hurt me so badly.
It's a cross nail, isn't it? Something like that.
I've heard of some hunters having strange powers. This cross, it's still burning. They don't normally have any effect on us. This poker, it branded me like an animal.
I don't know if that's a weapon we can use or what it is, but hey, ooh, he doesn't look too good. I thought he bit him as well. Yeah, oh, you mean like vampire proof in how did he get at the neck? That's true, yeah, that there wasn't any protection there.
They record all their sessions.
Suspicious item removed. I'm slowly getting the hang of this, I
A
think.
high security key. This isn't just for any door. They put that through my
Okay,
heart.
that's just the... It looked different from, like, the sign. It looked as if it had a cell phone or something, so I forgot that that was the stake from that perspective.
They burned me with that. I won't touch it.
Alright. Oh, do I see
They
more
burned me
if
with
I...
that.
Yeah.
I won't touch it. They put that through my heart.
Okay, there's no additional interactions, I think. Why doesn't he take...
Science Squad, we just escorted Stanford to basement level 3. We're on our way up to help.
First get out of here, then Stanford.
There's blood here.
How many others have come here before me?
Oh, this is a safe room. That's good to know.
That scent. This isn't human blood. I can think of a use for that.
Okay, at least we've... Oh, what's this? Saw.
I'm lucky I still have all my limbs.
Alright. At least if we need to eat someone, this is how we can do it. Why is there blood out there?
You think we'll stay in Boston long? I don't think so. We hit them really hard. I hope you're right. It's freezing.
Let me guess, the studio is not in Boston. Okay, so I can... Wait, let's...
Gate is locked. The gate is
Oh, and
locked.
my key doesn't work. Helmet must be worn in this area on pain of disciplinary action. Wearing an SAD who's issued helmet is mandatory around and inside the cells. Okay.
These soldiers are armed. There are too many of them for me alone.
Okay. Is there anything we can see here? What they do? I don't think there's much to... wonder if they're waiting for the elevator? What they're doing. In before, is that a stolen saw in your pocket or are you... Ah! Yeah. Oh, what's this?
A voice recorder. It looks like it works.
Due to recent issues, we have implemented a new prisoner transfer protocol. Please make sure you follow it. Obviously, you never move a blank body without placing a stake through their heart first. What's new is that now you'll need a transfer form.
And it needs to be stamped by the office.
That's all. If you have any questions, you can ask me or Georgia.
Maybe I could use that to escape.
Find someone to help you with the prisoner transfer.
NDAs for agents who participate in interviews. An A745C form. They have a werewolf? I don't like the sound of that.
Ah, Harmon Collin. We read about him earlier. In the special cell. So, I mean, setting him free would probably be a great diversion, right? Name, Luke Scott. Remarks, former SAD officer suspected of leaking sensitive information. Cell 4, Michelle Davies. Remarks, the blank body appears to be unstable and abundance of caution is required. So is any of them...
Barrel.
Cell 9, name unknown. So the thing is... Which cell were we in? So Luke Scott sounds like we can maybe eat him.
List of confiscated objects.
Unlocking of the access grids to the cell area. Okay. Expect.
This is the emergency override to open the cells. The lever is stuck.
Come on.
I need a high security key.
I have one. Okay, and so I need a second
Won't
key.
move.
The treasure department is quiet. We didn't find anything. Purple Squad, continuing our patrol.
A high security key.
Ah, there's the second one? So I guess they expected...
Good. The cells are unlocked.
Okay. That's for unlocking the cells.
Paperwork.
Okay, we don't know the code yet. Are werewolves and vampires friends? Nope. In Vampire the Masquerade, usually they're enemies. Wait, we were in an interrogation room.
Oh my god, no.
Who are you?
You. What?
Answer me.
Never. If you...
Then I can't let you live.
That wasn't what I wanted to do.
I can't let them raise the alarm.
Oh, she has an implant.
A small steel key. Most likely the key to a locker. A badge with her name on it. Georgia Dern. A badge with her name on it. Georgia Dern.
Okay, so maybe we can use that?
It's no red implant, but
Oh,
not a good tool for precision work. I broke the implant.
oh,
I've broken it. It's unusable now.
dang it. I didn't think that, you know...
Crowbar rusted away.
It kind of seemed, you know, like he would warn you if it wasn't... if the saw wasn't suitable for this work. It's not nice that the game didn't do that.
A high-tech headset.
So for... oh no, we can just...
They block out our voices to try to resist us. How clever.
Okay.
Even the SAD has to fill out paperwork. The sign-in sheet for agents on duty.
Greg Molnar, ID. Georgia Dern, ID 609-82372. Time of arrival. Okay. Ah. Use key. Conversation recorded on July 14th.
Georgia! Hi, Liz. I'm sorry, but I don't have much time.
Oh, I'm used to that with you.
I know I haven't had a lot of time to call you lately, but
Don't worry about it. I like talking to you, but I know that your work.
it'll be over soon. I'm gonna find a job that's a little calmer.
That's not the first time I've heard that.
I'm serious. We need it, and I don't want to...
What?
I really care about you, that's all.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I gotta go. I'll call you soon, I promise. Hello?
Hi.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm on my way to a party now. They're waiting for me.
Oh. Cool. With who?
You don't know them.
Okay. Can we talk soon?
I've been busy for the last month. I'll let you know.
I understand. Sorry.
Bye.
Why do I suspect that Liz was a friend of the agents who became a vampire, and so that second call might have been... No, wait, it's not... I don't think the date is right. August 18th and September 3rd. If there's a third call with her, I don't think that's right now, is it? Like, it would have to be like 2 days ago, and if it's August and September, then... You know, I thought that her friend had become a vampire, and so had become, you know, a little more distanced like they are bound to do. And then, you know, maybe there was the attack.
It's been a week and I haven't heard from you. I miss hearing the sound of your voice. Liz, I can't take this silence anymore. I just can't. Please.
So I wonder if this is Liz's phone that she found. Okay. Sadly, that doesn't really...
The crowbar broke. It's useless now.
But at least it was useful for something. Do not forget, helmet is required in the cell area. Doesn't seem to be the smartest. Okay, that gives us more security. 822614. Wait. I need my notes. All right. Where is my... Oh, right here, where it belongs. Eight 22614. You know, on one hand, it's cool to have this to fall back on in games, that you say, well, people put pin codes and numbers, they note them down somewhere because they keep forgetting stuff, and so yeah, it just makes sense that you would find them around in a game. But on the other hand, it makes you kind of scared to think, like, yeah, that's probably how someone is going to get, you know, a lot of the people out here. Imagine in real life a burglar tries to break into your PC and it's surrounded by game passwords and pins scribbled on notes. Yeah, I mean, the question is, of course, like, yeah, can you associate a number with what it is related to?
Pictures from the reunification party. It appears someone was interested in the members of the Hartford gentry.
Why aren't we taking the film or the SD card or something? Okay, that's what the implant would have been good for.
Certificate number M881M.
Okay, so I guess one of the things we'll have to find out is how to find a transfer form.
An SAD stamp.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff back here. So... SAD stamp plus plant safe in back room. Behind Dern. Maybe I'll remember it that way, that this is still something to be done.
That belongs to Beryl.
Okay, so his clothes. Oh, and so we can use the bolt cutter to cut the padlock here. That's why we found all this stuff. Imani Katifa? I don't know. Oh, what's this?
This looks like some of Dijon's sorcery.
That's Tremere concoction. Okay.
These things belong to Amani. Dijon won't be seeing his child again.
It's not good.
Certificate number C521H.
Okay, so as soon as we find out which certificate is for the transfer.
So that's the new form.
Oh, due to the recent changes, please note that Form A754C will now be required for all transfers. A745C. The underscore makes it a bit unrealistic. Like, usually you would use a dash or something, right? The SAD patrols have been informed and will only allow those who are in possession of a valid form through. Okay.
Certificate number C521H.
That's not the right one. This one.
Certificate number M881M.
Okay.
So that's the new form.
On. Okay, nothing else underneath.
Anyone heard from Olsen? Stanford doesn't want any more surprises.
Oh, anyone heard from Olsen? We know what happened to Olsen. We saw him.
Patrol reports.
Ah, that's the computer. They have some fancy PCs here.
It's an A745C certificate.
Yes.
But it's filled out.
Uh-huh. Oh, right. We had in some room we had a drawer full of forms. Was it here?
An A745C form. We should be able to get past the guards with this form, but it hasn't been completed.
Okay, how do I fill out a form? I guess I go to the pencils. That's probably what they are for. Fill out form.
I need Agent Dern's ID number. I've already seen it, but where?
I like that. Dern ID number, yes. Okay.
I need Agent Dern's ID number. I've already seen it, but where?
So, Dern's ID number is 600-982-372. But how do I apply that now?
Certificate number F947X.
Is that a trash can? Looks like it. Oh, maybe I need
A badge with her name on it. Georgia Dern. It's stamped. I need Agent Dern's implant number. That rings a bell. I need Agent Dern's ID number.
I have
I've
it.
already seen it, but where?
Okay. So how do I...
I've broken it. It's unusable now. Patrol reports. They block out our voices to try to resist us. How clever.
Defeat them at their own game. Bureaucracy. Yes. So how do I... There's something here? No.
NDAs for agents who participate in interviews.
So we could go to the cells, but...
Paperwork.
Oh. Report on search operation September 1st. Acting on information obtained from the subject, we have attempted to locate the others. The group appears to be camped near Mount Greylock. We have requested direct observation, but I recommend a new interrogation of the subject in order to do this with complete peace of mind. If you obtain additional information, please send it to me immediately. These things are highly mobile, and I don't know how long they'll be around here.
It sounds like they're talking about a pack of werewolves.
Yep.
Paperwork. I need Agent Dern's ID number.
I have it here.
I've already seen it, but where?
Is that a bug? Okay, since I think I know what I'm doing, and it's just the UI. Swansong, so let's Google. Okay, we found the keys. Okay. Okay, that seems weird. It seems kind of like we need the implant number, and this one won't be enough. Because he says ID number. And that's an ID number. But, like the walkthrough I found said, you'd have to...
Even the SAD has to be.
You'd have to get it from the implant.
I need Agent Dern's ID number. I've already seen it, but where?
Well, but it sounds like there must be an alternate path. It's just annoying that they don't let you try. If the ID number is right there on the wall. Oh, and we can take this one.
NDAs for agents who participate in interviews.
Okay, I guess let's go out. Oh, wait, we haven't used the computer yet. Consult. 822614.
This week's schedule. The agents' names and ranks.
Sergeant. Ah, maybe that's what we were missing? Sergeant Georgia Dern, Corporal Tony Garrett, Agent Greg Molnar. Maybe it was just a bad indication. You know, it said, I need her ID number, where have I seen it? But really what it wanted to say is, oh, I need her rank. Corporal Stephen Williams, Agent Evan Hart, Agent Phil Whitman. Start of shift. So Sergeant. Let's see if maybe that's unlocked it.
I need Agent Dern's ID number.
Nope.
I've already seen it, but where?
Although I do suspect that that walkthrough was kind of bullshit because it didn't mention, well, or incomplete, let's say it that way. Okay, so I guess...
All right, it's open. Even starving, I wouldn't touch that.
Okay, we can open this cell. There's nobody in it. Where was the list of who is in which cell? That was that. That was that. So it's not here.
Paperwork.
Okay, that's where we were. That's the safe room. Huh. Where the heck did we have the list? Oh, maybe here? Yeah, okay. Special cell is the lycanthrope. 3 cells. 3 is probably food. 4 So the question is, 5 and 6 are unoccupied. 7 is barrel. 9 and 10 we don't know. Okay, but at least we have that info now. Ugh.
3 heavily armed guards. I don't like these odds.
Oh, mein Rücken. Thanks for the stretch, Redeem. Yeah, sorry about the stopping music for a second. Thank you, room 215. And hello. All right. So 3. Oops, is the human. Okay, so that's not bad then. That's 5. And I guess the special cell is somewhere down there. 6 is empty.
Attention, reinforcements needed in Wing B-77 immediately. All undesignated agents must leave their stations and head there on the double.
That doesn't sound good.
That's you guys.
Shit. Let's go.
It's my lucky day. It shouldn't be hard to get rid of just one guard.
Okay, so... Why can't I show the objectives? I thought that was... Okay, let's see. 4 is Michelle Davis, which seems to be a vampire, and 7 is Beryl. 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's alone. I might have a chance. An ideal cell for a werewolf.
What have we here? A lost soul.
Oh, nice. He got the fancy Hannibal Lecter digs. I guess that lets him out. Yep, he's a werewolf. And here is where
I'm starving.
We might need the code, but let's see what he has to say.
I know what you are, dog.
That's a good way to make friends.
Then be very careful, leech.
How did you end up here?
By no choice of my own.
They must have gone all out. Your kind are particularly tenacious.
I was hunting in the Blue Hills. They had been tracking me for some time. I was careless.
I wouldn't be so quick to chalk it up to imprudence.
They were well prepared. I gutted a few of them, but they knew what they were up against. When I get out of here, they'll become prey.
There might be a solution.
What do you mean?
We could come to an agreement. If I free you, you clear the way out, and keep your distance from me.
Work together?
There are just a handful of guards standing between us and freedom. That shouldn't be too difficult for you.
I'd rather take you with me to my grave.
Giving him a chance to get revenge, that works nothing at all. Apparently the SI is a bigger threat than I am. I think that will get him, because, you know, pact, family. You never, what is it the saying? You never turn your back on family.
You're going to change your mind.
That's highly unlikely.
The SAD, they've tracked down your pack.
What? You're lying, like all of your brethren. The worm twists your words.
Mount Greylock, that's where they are.
Shit.
What do you think will happen next?
Shut up!
Give me your word.
I swear by Gaia that I won't touch a hair on your head. For tonight. I can't promise the same for the other leeches.
That's not my problem.
Oh, if we had more education, could analyze his necklace. Open werewolf cell. I guess if that works and we don't need the code.
I don't get a lot of visitors around here.
How did he get that to open? Ooh, do we get... Please, give us a transformation.
He should keep the guards busy for a while.
Oh. That guy's strong. Doesn't know how to open doors, but he's strong. Okay. The question is... That's 5, 6, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 was this Michelle vampire. But where is 7? That's weird. It says Beryl was in cell number 7. But we only have 6 cells here. Oh, down there. Okay. So the question I have now is, can I do anything special? And does any of these lock me out of the rest?
Bazori. No, no, no!
Michelle, you don't seem pleased to see me.
Galeb Bazori, the bird of ill omen? Oh, I'm thrilled.
We'll discuss the past another time.
After Franklin Park? I've no desire to ever talk to you again.
I had orders.
Your presence is always a bad sign. And if they find you here, I don't even want to think about it.
Everything will be fine this time, I promise.
I just noticed that I hope that wasn't audible on stream as much, that I actually still had my speakers on, which, you know, made for a bit of echo. Sorry about that. Okay. Why can't... I thought I had dominate. But I can't... I guess dominate can't be focused. I guess I can't defend myself. That's not good.
This is gonna mean trouble for me. They'll start again. Leave! I don't want to talk to you!
Fine. I understand. I'll leave you be.
Okay, that didn't work. Okay. Well, I guess we have to go to downstairs anyway. You know, Can you not free her? Well, she said to leave, you know, so why should I?
The hunters are toying with forces that far surpass them.
Okay, 9 and 10 are people we don't know. 7. Wait. The thing I'll do first is get my food, I think. Where was he? 3. Oh, I guess I have to open that.
Today or night.
Meet me there.
Suit yourself.
Okay. Oh, we're actually down to 0. That's nice. Okay, so now I guess we'll meet Beryl. I'm kind of thinking, you know, it says that Beryl, like they say they've interrogated one of the informers. So that's either Michelle. Maybe we'll have to go to her after all. What is it for? Can we do anything else?
Leave me alone.
So I wonder if she was the traitor. I don't remember where we heard her name. Can we see that somewhere? What did SAD stand for again? Special Affairs Division. Let's see. Nope, she's not in here. Seasonally affected division. Yeah. I mean, we could let her out, I guess. No, we can't. Okay, interesting. Okay, she just doesn't want. I guess she kind of magicked us into not wanting to let her free. Okay, that's interesting. But I kind of wonder, like, is it Beryl or is it her? Like that she wants to stay behind and that she thinks she gets in trouble if we do anything, makes me think she's the traitor.
Galeb! Open up! I'm so hungry. I need blood.
On one hand, we want him, you know, we want as much info as we can deal with. On the other hand, this would be the cooler way to do.
First, I'll need some answers.
Damn it! Just do what I ask already!
What happened?
The mortals attacked the Red Salon! Wouldn't just leave me here, would you? Your honor.
You dare speak of honor.
It's not a question of my honor. You're my sire. Have you forgotten what that means?
What about you? Do you remember?
Of course. I tried to find a place to stand beside you. You didn't make it easy, but I tried. I truly did.
I did my best.
It wasn't enough. I felt so insignificant compared to you. I was nothing but your plaything. It's not surprising the prince won't let you take another child.
You certainly aren't an argument in favor of it.
You, Galeb, are responsible for what I have become.
I certainly am at least partly to blame.
Come on! Open up! I don't want to stay here and descend into madness. I can feel it clawing at my guts. I don't want to go feral.
What do we do? What do we say? You're already feral. Well, he's close. Definitely. But he's still talking to us, so I don't think that's how ferals behave.
Try to calm down. This behavior is beneath you.
Enough! I don't want to hear it!
I've already told you, we are monsters. We may put on clothes and disguise our deathly pallor. As long as we've had our fill of blood, all is well.
Oh, the sire is giving his child a lesson. It's been so long. I have a lesson for you as well. You have to keep an eye on things you don't want to lose.
What are you talking about?
Feng, I saw her after you left.
You defied me.
She has been embraced, Galeb, but not by you. Feng is mine now.
Ooh, I like that facial expression. I don't think this is the result you hoped for. You know, I want an answer. I don't think Galeb at this point cares. I think Galeb just wants to kill him now. But, you know, this is me playing the game, so I think I want the answer. But just imagine he would have stayed silent and angrily stared.
What do you want? Why do you continue to disobey?
Have you ever listened to a word I've said? The only thing I ever wanted was to be part of your world. But you chose to abandon me.
It was not an easy decision to make.
But it's one you've never regretted.
You're wrong. This burden is mine to bear for all eternity.
Okay, so that's our choice. Forgive Beryl and free him or leave him. And you know how it goes, you know. It's, he disobeyed Galeb, and I think Galeb is too old-fashioned to let that go.
You've disappointed me for the last time. Farewell, Beryl.
Caleb! Don't leave me here! Don't! Please, Caleb! No!
I should have rid myself of him a long time ago.
Alright. This is where we came from, so I guess this is where we go.
The bodies need to be taken to the hospital. Make room for them, but don't leave them lying around. Krieger out. Keep searching the labs. You never know. Did you see what he did to Faberone?
Wait, we're really...
They left my clothes here. At least they didn't destroy that.
Romantic music. Sexy dressing scene. A kindred forced your mind to avoid talking to you. That was Michelle. Okay. Suspicious items missed. Oh, we missed one. You could have found another way out. You could have forgiven Beryl and freed him. Yeah, we're fine with those. You discovered that there was a werewolf. You left Beryl Underwood in your enemy's hands. Suspicious items removed. 1 of 2 resonance bonus fortitude. Alright. Another MM. Huh. I think this is probably a good moment. Well, I guess we can talk for a little and then see, but I'll probably stop for our usual break before I do the next quest, the next chapter. So, what are we thinking? What am I thinking, more importantly? So, I mean, we've... so I'm a bit disappointed that the whole getting her implant didn't work. And also that it was just like if you decided not to intimidate her, that you then had to kill her. So... So if I replayed this chapter, I'd probably try that. But I also find it weird that we had her ID number on that paper sheet on the wall. So why couldn't we use it? Huh. And, you know, I would have... I like that puzzle, though, in general. Like, it was a cool idea to first have the pencil and things. It... You know, usually a puzzle shouldn't be how to figure out the UI. But a good puzzle is one where you find all the pieces separately and don't know yet that they belong to a larger puzzle and just think, oh, that's interesting window dressing or something, you know, like, haha, a comment about how bureaucratic they are and things like that. And then you find out, oh, you have to fill out this form. And then you go, wait a second, how would I even fill out a form in this game? And then you see, okay, wait, there are pencils. So of course I'll need a writing implement. So you go in that room where the pencils were, use them, and it'll actually go, hey, yeah, I'll fill out the form. So I like that approach. One thing I didn't check that I just realized now is, could I have done the same thing using the paper? You know, from the inventory. Like, maybe that was something I just didn't try that. I would definitely, if I tried to do this in a game, I would at least put a hint on the paper so that you can go in the inventory, say, use the empty form, and then it would say, I'll need pencils or something to, you know, I need something to write onto this with. And then you go to the pencils and there you have the interaction. That's fine, you know. But, I mean, that's not, you know, having to figure out how to map real-world actions into the game is not really exciting. Once you've figured out what you want to do, the game, it should just be natural in the game how to do it. Yeah. I assume the form escape was part of another path and it gave you a wrong message. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's a transfer form, so really, you know, how would you use it? That seems a bit weird. Like, I'm actually just assumed that it's an alternate path out, because the game even told me at the end you could have found another way out. So, yeah, but, like, this message at least was wrong, I think. Because either it should have told me, you know, I've looked at the number, so either it should have been more clear that we're looking for her implant number and not for her ID number, because the ID number was written on the wall. And it said, where have I already seen it? And yes, I've seen it on the wall. So it was not clear to me how to interact with that. How much of a spoiler do you want about the second path? I guess try to keep it low, like keep it maybe located to whether whether the form has nothing to do with getting out. I mean, if that's the case, then you can just say it. And otherwise, like, tell me how I would have gotten the number. Like, maybe not in too much detail, but like, was I just being misled by the ID number? And it's really the implant number, and since I destroyed the implant number, it's broken, and that path was just closed to me. Or if there was another interaction, then give me a general idea, like either, oh yeah, you missed an item, Or, I don't know, would an NPC have told me the number or something? Like, is it because I got the agent killed that I couldn't do the form, or what? I don't know about the number, but you could have dominated someone into escape using the form. Ah, okay. The second escape requires several things to succeed 100%. Yeah, I mean, there was only one person I could dominate, which was Michelle. So my guess is, yeah, that didn't work. Hi, Fatty Two Bits, how's it going? You've you're coming in at the most inopportune moment because it's just about the moment I wanted to take the break for 5 minutes. But hi, nice to see you here. We just finished a chapter, and so now we're going to start on this next chapter. You're just saying, hey, okay, hey, yeah, glad to have you here. Thanks for dropping by. Good opportunity for a shout out. Because, yeah, Fatty Two Bits is a cool singer. Occasionally also played games. I don't know if you still do that much. I think it's usually at a time I can't watch. Take a break. I'll see you later. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, so short teaser before we start is let's read this description of the next mission. Despite the unforeseen obstacles, Galeb, and Leisha have all managed to make their way into the enemy hideout. After her failed hacking attempt, must find a way to get to the base's mainframe server. Her only hope of success is by reaching the network's nerve center. Okay, so we're still on with that quest and are supposed to do it. Okay, so I guess this quest is split up into alternating. Okay, cool. Anyway, so yeah, we're going hacking with next. See you in 5 minutes. Don't forget to get up, take a stretch, walk around a little, or if you're working on your feet right now, maybe sit down, take a breath, relax. See you in a moment. To stop the train, in case of emergency, just pull the chain. Pull the chain. Penalty for improper use. £5.
You're sure the suite does not bring back any memories, Monsieur Yesterday?
No, I'm sorry.
Dommage. Well, call me if you need anything at all. Dinner with adult entertainment. You get my drift? Blonde, brunette, bald, black, white, young, oldies, sex pots, fat ladies, dwarves, hussies, spinsters, natural, surgically enhanced, clean, or filthy. And 10% discount if I get to watch. Okay?
Thank you, Albert. I'll keep it in mind.
It's a weird hotel. What the heck? Just rattles off the list. Maybe he's possessed by a dead, satanic murderous spirit.
Your daughter hungry? I have bread.
We're no fools. What do you want in return?
Nothing. I have a little girl of my own at home. Same age.
Give it here then, and quick about it. Can't have anyone seeing me hobnobbing with a Briton.
Nice. Hobnobbing with a Briton. A sea lion. That's cool. Loading. This is the loading song, because someone wrote the loading wrong. It takes so fucking long. This is the loading song. That actually happy that I came up with so many rhyming lyrics. You trapped me! So where's Dr. Goodnight? Upstairs, apparently. Good night, sleep tight, and when you dream, dream of bees, not the bees. No, wait, wrong movie. I just miss the music. Do 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 you have a soundbite of your friend Reaper after tricking him into saying "Touch me, Daddy" on stream, which you just did. But hopefully, I spoke it all in one long go, so it won't be able to be clipped as well. I guess I just put a challenge by accident. And are you still there? And so I went like, well, you know, if I want to do something fancy like, you know, being able to go here and then say, hey, this is important, like some streamers do it, then I can do that. And can probably do that better. Like right now, this is all using the 1080p webcam, and what I've basically done is I just like, you know, pulled it larger. You know, so it gets more pixelated and more fuzzy. To paint their sails red, I see a white sail and I want to paint it red. No colors anymore, I want them to turn red. Luckily red and black rhymes, so I don't even have to change the lyrics much. Oops. Oh. Oh my god, I just killed myself. And I wonder how that works, like whether it was just that, you know, the kind of people, you know, that being outside of town kind of protected them from, you know, I don't know if they, you know, took apart a body to see out how it worked, that then nobody would, you know, see them do it, and that way, you know, ignorance is bliss.